Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences. You have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of my content is financial advice. So just a quick update on EverReflect. Hasn't been a lot going on, but I heard something pretty crazy yesterday that I was really impressed with. So I just wanted to do a quick update and share that information because I think you'll find it very interesting and probably give you more reasons to believe in EverReflect moving forward. Now, just for your awareness, in case you don't watch my other content, I am invested in EverReflect. So I'm just like you. If you've already invested or if you're considering investing, I invest in EverReflect. I see a lot of potential for this project moving forward. It's got a specific focus on essentially Ticketmaster. Think Ticketmaster and blockchain. If you haven't watched my fundamental analysis, I recommend you check that out. I'll put the link right here so you can check that if you want to. But a phenomenal project. Just launched a couple weeks ago, so it's very new. And let's go ahead and jump into the update. First, let's take a look at price. And price is down from all-time highs. Now, if you've already been tracking this project, then you know that there were some weird issues on launch day that caused the price to drive up really high. And that aggravated a lot of investors that bought at all-time highs on launch, because you can't see the launch on a CoinGecko chart. You have to go over to PooCoin to see that. But it skyrocketed pretty high, and there's a bunch of investors that tried to buy during that period when it jumped up, and it created a bunch of fun moving forward that has kind of impacted the project. Plus, there's been a whole bunch of the launches at the same time. So I think a lot of people will be coming back into this, and we have seen a little bit of an increase over the last 24 to 48 hours on the prices as well. And I'll be honest, I missed the dip because I was tracking it too to buy more and increase my position. And I missed that dip. If you look at the 7-day, you can kind of see it here. So I wanted to buy on the way down, and we've only gone up a little bit, so it's still a good buying opportunity compared to all-time highs, but you can see there's some people taking profits here. And if we look at the holders, you can see it's got 4,050, which is a pretty good start for this project. And you can see that they've burned 52.5% of their total supply at this point. Now, again, they do regular burns. They're planning on burning quite a bit over the next month, so they do have that going on. And the taxes are now at 17%, so they've hit that static 17%. So it's a great time to buy in with that lower tax right now also. Now, in one of the recent live streams, I talked about buying pressure on launches. And I found another one that's great to explain because this has happened to a couple of projects recently. Now, this is Lily Finance. Lily Finance had tens of thousands of followers because of its initial link to Saitama. Saitama's got 330,000 investors in it. So when those two projects were paired, there was a lot of awareness for Lily Finance. And on launch day, this is their chart. And you might be looking at it like, well, where's the chart, right? Well, it's there. Trust me, it is. Now, this is, look at the price. This is what the normal price of Lily Finance is. And you can see here that on launch day, it jumped up to around $4,000. So that price, $4,000. That is an insane level of growth for any project. And all the people that bought on this huge green candle lost a ton of money on the red candle that immediately followed it. Because if we zoom back out, it's way down here now. And it's been kind of going down like that for a while. There was a little bit of an increase, but the price is kind of all over the place because a lot of people got hurt in this launch. The more excitement that there is for a project, the more chances for this to happen because there's an incredible amount of buying pressure in that first couple seconds of the project going live. Now, Lily Finance had some other things that went wrong as well. So it's not just that. But it was a huge contributing factor to that massive green candle that they had. Now, EverReflect had a very similar situation to that happen. They had a lot of awareness for the project. They had a pretty good sized community built up. And when it launched, there was a lot of buying pressure that drove that price higher. There's a few other aspects to their launch that caused some issues. So there is some FUD circling around the community. But this happens at launch. And if that's the thing that's keeping you away from EverReflect, what I would challenge you to think about is imagine if you weren't aware of that, or imagine that you missed that entirely, you heard about it. What relevance does that play into the fundamentals of the project moving forward? They can't control the buying pressure. Now, again, there's some other aspects with this project with the launch, but when I listen to the team and when I interact with the team, all I get from them is that they want to have a good project and they want to make sure that their holders are rewarded moving forward because it's a good idea. It's a great concept for the project. So yesterday I was inside of a Unite DeFi Twitter Spaces, and this was one of the projects. Now all of them were phenomenal projects, and I've invested in most of them. And there's a couple that I'll be looking into a little bit more just to learn more about them. But one of the things that the CEO of this project said that caught my eye is that they've been focusing on trying to repay those holders that bought at all-time high. Now, I've never heard of any project trying to do that because, again, there's certain aspects to this that as an investor, you need to be aware of. You need to be aware of that huge green candle and huge red candle potential. And I'm guessing that somebody inside that community, whether it's a YouTuber or otherwise, mentioned that. And I'm pretty sure that the team probably did as well. But there's all kinds of buying strategies. You can make off great on buying on launches, but you can also have issues like this. And then there's the aspect of, well, you hit the button and it kind of told you what you were going to potentially get back, and you agreed to that based on the amount of zeros that that price was going to have. You should have probably questioned what you were getting back in return before you hit that button, because no project goes from that number of zeros to $4,000 immediately. Just doesn't happen. It's not realistic. So it would have been an indicator of significant buying pressure. But again, not everybody's as versed in buying on launch days. So I understand where some people might have thought that it's normal and that maybe the price just really got that high. But this team is actually taking the effort to try to repay some of those investors. Now, I don't think they're able to do 100% because it's a lot of tokens, but they're going the extra mile to actually try to take care of those that were impacted on launch day by that huge green candle followed by the red candle. And that's amazing. And that's the kinds of projects I like to invest in when they have teams like that. I was having a conversation with somebody else recently, and I emphasized this when I was talking to him, is I really like it when teams that are made up of good people succeed. And I will do everything I can to try to help that team succeed. And that's what I see with this project. Not to mention, it's got a great idea for utility if you ask me, but I also see that aspect of this project, plus most of the projects I continuously cover on this channel, I see the same thing. Now, some of them, I see the same thing and I haven't necessarily gone back and covered their material. I'm trying to get around to getting to some of those as well and do some updates. It just kind of depends on what they've got going on and whether I can get back to them or not. If there's not really anything to talk about, it's kind of hard to do a video for them. This one's got some interesting updates. So obviously the 17% is new information. The information about trying to repay some of their investors is huge. I'm really impressed by that. But let's also take a look at what their interface is going to look like, because since I did my last video, they've also released some kind of imagery of what that might look like. So if we go to apps and resources and we see NFT Ticket prototype here, we can click that and we can actually see what this is going to look like. So as we can see, it looks phenomenal. I mean, imagine going through a scroll screen of different upcoming events, and this is what you're seeing. And I'm assuming that's kind of how it's going to work. But if we click on one of these, we can actually see what it's going to look like. So let's look at buy now. And then you can see the information, connect your wallet, and mint your ticket. And that's a great idea. Again, this is about the scalpers. So scalpers can still go in here and mint a whole bunch of tickets and then still sell them on the reselling market. But the performer and the venue will get revenue based off of that. Right now, they're not. Right now, scalpers can buy as many tickets as they want, so at whatever price that they think people are willing to pay, and the performers never get anything beyond that initial sale price, which for some venues, they bump the price up just to account for that. So there's a potential in the long run that a system like this might actually cause the price to go down because, again, they're going to get those royalties based off of the resale of these tickets. So that allows them to look at things a little bit differently when they're building these venues. At least that's my thought process on how this could unravel over time. Well, that's it for today's content. Hopefully you found the content helpful. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about EverReflect? Have you invested? Or if you haven't, what are you waiting for? I'm curious. Now, just a reminder, Twitter Spaces tonight for Reflex. I will be trying to do a live stream for that. If you haven't noticed, I'm feeling a little off today. So right now I'm feeling okay where I can do it, but I'm definitely a little drained. So I may or may not be there tonight for live streaming, but my plan is to be there. Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands.